Good morning, everybody, and a very warm welcome to you to this third annual conference of Powerful Women. My name is Louise Kingham, and I am a board member of Powerful Women and also CEO of the Energy Institute. And I am hoping to guide you through the sessions today. And we have a very packed agenda, and more than 350 of you registered, and I can see the attendee list climbing as I'm talking to you now. So I'm looking forward to as many of you joining us as possible during the course of today. We're going to hear some inspiring speakers, going to hear some new ideas, and hopefully we're going to have some challenging debate. And of course, this year's conference looks very different. Like almost everyone else, we are having to hold the events online, and we've had some steep learning curves around the technology, of course, which we're hoping will behave itself today, and that we'll be adept enough at finding our way through it. And of course, we will miss the buzz a little bit of not being in the same room together. But all that said, I think this new way of doing things actually brings some positive results too. And we can enjoy interactive and engaging, inclusive time together that works for each of us. So in a sense, I think having to work this way and learning how to interact this way gives us a more equitable opportunity to spend time together. And of course, the new normal in the workplace could, if we're attentive, also yield results in diversity and inclusion, especially for women, which is something that we're going to hear more about during the course of this morning's events. And another way in which this conference is different is that it is invitation only this time, and it's focused on the companies who wish to explore and challenge themselves on diversity and inclusion strategies and doing better and doing more. Part of Powerful Women's commitment to provide practical support to the sector so that we can see positive improvements. But of course, we haven't forgotten the support that we provide to aspiring women, and we have been running a variety of events through the course of the year consistently to provide that support. And most latterly, I'm delighted to say we've also welcomed two of those ladies to the Powerful Women board so that we can consistently be reminded of the purpose and support that we can provide for powerful women that wish to aspire and grow in their professional development in the sector. So today in our programme, we've been delighted to be joined by senior leaders of the I&D representatives from our top energy companies, including members of our Energy Leaders Coalition, which have just met this morning from 8:15, and you'll be seeing some more of some of those later on this morning. And of course, today we launched the second anniversary report of that group of CEOs and the work that they and their I&D leads have been doing during the course of the year. This morning's plenary and the fascinating workshops that come this afternoon are a great platform for sharing good practice, listening, learning and debating and being inspired so that you leave this event today with clear, concrete actions to take away and implement in your organisations. We'll get a timely reminder of where we are when it comes to female representation at the top of our industry and why it matters very shortly. And I'm delighted that we'll be hearing from government as well as thought leaders and change makers at the heart of the energy transition. We are moving rapidly to a decarbonised, smarter and more responsive energy system. And innovation and fresh thinking and new skills are at the heart of what we need in order to be able to achieve that. So today, let's explore how we can dispense with the entrenched and outworn ways of thinking and behaving, actively include women in the energy transformation and embrace diversity and inclusion to make our industry fit for the challenges ahead. I encourage all of you to use the day today as a great opportunity to engage, to ask questions and share your experiences. So let me give you a few housekeeping tips in order to help you get through that. We chose Hoover because it offers the opportunities for youth delegates to network, even though we can't be together in the same room. Please use the Q&A area later on during the course of the morning in Hoover to ask questions in the sessions for our speakers. And if you wish to, include who the question is for, please, and we'll try and direct it accordingly. You can also visit the community space to start and join discussion boards on a variety of topics. And you can download articles from there as well and contact the organisers if you need to with any questions. You can see the full list of delegates in the attendee session, and you can directly message people from there if you're using the mobile app, and you can request video meetings. And for those of you joining us for the full day, please also take a look at the afternoon workshops in the agenda section and choose which one you would like to join after the lunch break. In terms of social media, please tweet during the event, tagging Powerful Women and using the conference hashtag, if you would, which is PSWConf. Next, of course, I would like to thank the people that help us to make this event possible, to bring it to you, and that's, of course, the sponsors who supported this third conference today. And I would like to say particular thanks to Drax, to EDF Energy, to National Grid, to RWE, Scottish Power, SSE and Wood plc. Thank you very much indeed for your support. And we're very grateful also too for the support that BEIS continues to give Powerful Women. Having been founded as an initiative inside BEIS some years ago now, 5 years ago, the support from BEIS has been continuous and gratefully received. And I know you've seen figures talk to you at previous events from the department, and I'm delighted therefore that we are joined today by the new Permanent Secretary, or reasonably new Permanent Secretary, Sarah Munby. So Sarah joined the department back in 2019 after a stellar career within McKinsey, having originally joined civil service, and she's come back into BEIS and in July was appointed as the Permanent Sec. So Sarah, you're very, very welcome. I'm not sure if you're through your first 100 days yet or not, but
it depends what you count. I've been, strictly speaking, pushing August out of my first 100 days on the basis I was on holiday for a while, so not quite finished yet.
Well, that sounds eminently sensible to me. Quite right too. Start as you mean to go on. So very warm welcome to you. Thank you for joining us. And let me hand over to you to share some of your thoughts, please, this morning. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Louise. What a great introduction to the day. I think it's going to be fantastic. I'm really pleased to be here. Louise said in introducing me that I'm not a lifetime civil servant. I spent most of my time in business and working very closely with business, and I wasn't an expert on energy when I took up this role, and so the last 100 days, as Louise said, have been a big learning curve. And I've been exploring and learning and meeting people and talking to them. And I'll talk about sort of some of the civil service things I think about all of that. But I must say kind of my overwhelming emotion coming from that world of business is actually excitement at the opportunities that are ahead. Kind of my business brain gets very excited when we start talking about a doubling of demand for electricity. My business brain gets very excited about the thought of genuinely new types of industrial cluster that have new energy, clean energy at their heart. I get very excited about the digitalization of our energy infrastructure or the way that people use energy in their homes. I get excited about new forms of generation that we don't even know yet whether they will definitely work. And I think kind of that's been my overwhelming emotion. And I'm very conscious that you know, while in this building, physical or virtual, we do a lot of things to set policies and targets and frameworks. The real change happens with you out there. And I think the thing that makes me most excited in all of that, and I would say this, wouldn't I, is not just the opportunities for individual companies, but the opportunities for the country as a whole. And we've set ourselves out to be a leader in the transition to net zero, very explicitly. We've been the first, and now the challenge is to be the best. And how do we take that ambition to be truly world leading in the transition to net zero carbon? How do we take that ambition, an ambition we have to deliver, and capture all of the opportunity from it, and the opportunity for the UK? The opportunity not just in terms of carbon emissions reduction, but in terms of opportunity for people and opportunities, by the way, for women. So I want us to be not just first, but best. And there's lots of places where we can be best, you know, whether it's subsea engineering to support decommissioning, whether it's the opportunities in manufacturing around wind, whether it's carbon storage. All of these are going to be key parts of the UK's growth story. And I think, our aspiration is to be world leading in this transition. And I was reflecting that is ever more true and ever more important in the context of this government's ambitions, not just on net zero, but on other things too. And first of all, ambitions around innovation. We've committed to an enormous expansion of R&D spending in the public sector and expect that to happen in the private sector too. And that's a reflection of an ambition to be truly a science and innovation superpower. And what more exciting space than the one that you all occupy? But as well as innovation, this government has talked a lot about spreading opportunity, particularly levelling up regional economic development. And we don't see so many concrete, future-gazing, known to happen because of the commitments that we've made, opportunities for new areas of job creation outside not just the southeast, but outside major conurbations. And there's so much that this sector has to offer in that space. And then finally, those two things have been true for a while, but now more than ever, because of the need to drive economic recovery. And I've really been reflecting back to the time in the immediate aftermath of the financial crisis, when there was a very interesting piece of CBI research suggesting that the green economy was contributing a third of economic growth. And if that was true then, won't it be even more true now, given how everything has changed? And our traditional sources of growth are going to be harder to go after. Face-to-face services, hospitality, that's going to be a tough environment for a while. So it's not just those long-term things about innovation and levelling up, it's the contribution that this sector will be making now. But we really do not just have an aspiration to be world leading in this transition, but an enormous need as a country to be world leading. So when is she going to talk about women? You may well ask. And I start from that. Our aspiration is to be world leading in this transition. Our aspiration is to be world leading in the energy transition. We have to be world leading in embracing women as part of that transition too. That's part of what being world leading will mean. And when I talked about innovation as one of the critical things that we expect from and need from the sector, I think making progress, faster and better progress on gender diversity is critical to that. And I don't say that because I think that only women are innovative. I gather there are some quite innovative men out there. I say it because a lack of progress on women at every level of the organisation is the canary in the coal mine when it comes to innovation. It's a sign of a culture and a company that isn't moving fast enough and isn't changing fast enough. So I think when we see a lack of progress on gender diversity, we have to ask ourselves, what is that saying about our lack of progress in other kinds of change too? And we know that change is going to be absolutely critical. It's also, as Louise will and has told you all, a sign of leaving money on the table. We know that too. And when we talk about spreading opportunity and levelling up, we need to think about spreading opportunity and levelling up in a gender-oriented way too. I started by saying I thought that this was an incredibly exciting space, and it's absolutely criminal to think of half the population not having the same opportunities to access that excitement. And when you start thinking about what does that mean around the country, I was incredibly struck by evidence showing that Aberdeen has the worst gender pay gap of any city in the UK. It's really bringing to life what does it mean for people's life chances and opportunity, not in this room, making real progress in this sphere. And finally, I talked about speed and the recovery and how we need to do things now, because now is a moment. And I think that's really true on gender diversity as well. And the reason I say that is that there's going to be a lot of change in the labour market in the coming years, losses and gains. And those are the moments where you can undo a generation's worth of progress if you get it wrong. If you let the losses accrue to women and the gains accrue to men. So I think now really is a moment when not just we're asking the sector to double down as a wonderful growth opportunity for the UK, but really also asking to double down on making sure that everybody is benefiting from that opportunity. We want to be world leading. We want to be world leading on carbon. We want to be world leading on innovation, on skills and progress. And I think if you're going to achieve any of those ambitions, we have to be together world leading on women too. And that's why I'm so pleased to be able to continue our support for Powerful Women, and real pleasure to be here with you all today.
Sarah, thank you ever so much. We said in the opening words that we'd give you some inspiration, and I think you've delivered plenty of that. Thank you very much indeed. And of course, welcome to the new role. And it's great to hear that the support of BEIS in relation to the work of Powerful Women continues. And interestingly, we had a meeting of 14 CEOs from the industry this morning, the Energy Leaders Coalition, and we were talking about some of the very things that you've mentioned around how inclusion and diversity strategies can really support the levelling up agenda, showing leadership in the run-up to COP26, and of course, really enabling in a very practical way this green recovery that is being so very much talked about. And you've given lots of insights and shared your thinking in a very similar way to what I was listening to them speak about this morning. So really nice to hear that everyone is so very aligned, and look forward to working with you to push all those things forward.